Hi, I'm Sharon Racusin and the host of Voices for Justice. The goal of this show is to allow social and economic justice activists give you an opportunity to get organized and connected to the important struggles happening in our community and in our state. You're not alone. Join us. Healthcare is a human right. My name is Sharon Racusin, and I am the host of Voices for Justice. And with me in the studio in White River Junction is Sarah Rosenstein. She's a second-year medical student with Geisel Medical School, which is at Dartmouth College, and an organizer for Students for a National Health Program. And that program is connected to Physicians for a National Health Program, and she's an organizer. And we're going to be talking about organizing today. How you doing?
I'm doing well today. Just finished a final exam for med school, but happy to be here.
Yeah, this might make you nervous, or you might be so exhausted from the exam that you'll just be like calm.
I'm so exhausted that there's no way that I could get enough adrenaline built up right now. So
what we wanted to talk about was organizing, and that's what your task in this program is. And so can you tell me how you got involved with Students for a National Health Program? Sure. And let's start there.
Yeah, that sounds good. So in my first year at Geisel, that was 2016, and that was when Trump was elected. And I was really wanting to get involved somehow as a response to that election. And so I was taking an elective on equal distribution of healthcare, and the man running the elective, Dr. Don Kolish, who is my mentor and just a great man, said, you know, you're the only student I've ever had in this elective who is pro single-payer healthcare. And I was surprised by that. Seeing as he's been around the medical school for quite some time. And he said, you know, I'm part of Physicians for a National Health Program, and we do advocacy around single payer and Medicare for all. But no one has ever started a student chapter here at Geisel. And if you're interested, that's something that I could help you do. So I said, yes, I would love to. And that's kind of how we founded SNAP at Geisel.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he hasn't had a student step up to that. It's not like it hasn't been around for a while. How long has Students for a National Health Program been around?
They have been an organization, I think, since 2012, so it's a fairly new organization. But he'd been running the elective, I think, fairly regularly and is involved with, obviously, single-payer Medicare for all. So.
Yeah, and I know Don also for many, many years, and he has been around the block a lot, so that is kind of stunning. Yeah. So that leads me to the next question. Okay. What are the obstacles of organizing your colleagues?
So they say that organizing med students is kind of like herding cats, which is true. So we are really busy people, and we're just pulled in a million directions all the time, studying, and there's a lot of people active in student groups, and there's always something going on. A final exam today for me, but you're just under pressure constantly. So attendance for students is something that's difficult. So promoting events and getting students to attend, especially in something that students obviously hadn't been super interested in before. But I think that we kind of came in at the right time because students were feeling pressure as Trump had been elected and was trying to dismantle the ACA, which unfortunately he's moved definitely towards today. But students were feeling super excited about this at that time, so I was able to organize events and get a lot of student attendance at those, which was great.
Do you feel, has your membership grown? I mean, I hope it's not just you.
No, it's not me.
That would be scary.
I co-founded with my friend David Lacomi, and he is great. And then we had 39 students sign on to the charter chapter. So that was our original group. And each year we gain about, I would say, 20 new members, and then obviously as students graduate, we're losing those members. But we have probably around 50 students who will come and go through events and help us with what we're trying to organize and do.
So theoretically, once you graduate from medical school, theoretically you join the chapter of Physicians for National Health Program. Is it, do you have any, are there things that the medical students, when you speak to them, do they have any reservations about National Health Program? Do they even know what that means?
So yes, that was a big thing our first year, was doing some education around what Medicare for All, single payer, a national health care program system would be. So not everyone knew about that. People come from really diverse backgrounds to Dartmouth, and we're not all on a level playing field. And so our first year we did a lot of education. We had Robin Lunge come up. She's a lawyer from Vermont who worked on the single payer program back in 2012 in Vermont. And she did a great educational talk, and we had an attendance of about 100 for that. So
that's great.
That was amazing. And so she kind of laid out the basics of what single payer is and how it would work both financially and as well as for our patients, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. Just for some background, a little bit of history about Vermont, contrary to what people hear, Vermont, it's not that Vermont can't have a single payer medical program, it's that the political will in the legislature is not there. And so many publications, many opponents of Medicare for All, single payer, universal health care, say Vermont can't do it, nobody can do it, and that is simply not true. We actually have a law in Vermont. I live in Vermont. Act 48 was passed in 2014, and what it says is that every single Vermonter should have access to affordable and comprehensive health care. And we are trying to get equitably that bill, that law equitably financed. And so if there are any legislators listening to this program or watching me, step up and do it. It can be done. The outcomes would be better and it would be cheaper.
Absolutely, and that's what we're advocating for on a nationwide level. And we do have a ton of evidence for that, right? We have a global case study on how single payer programs work in all other developed nations. They have some sort of social support for a single payer program for everyone to get a base level of health care. And so if every other developed nation can do it, I think that we can too, but we just have to get there. Right.
And on that note, today, as Sarah pointed out, Bill Barr, the new Attorney General, said that the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, is unconstitutional and it's going to go away. Health insurance is unaffordable, and health insurance is not health care. It's as simple as that. And so when people do not have subsidies or help, it is not affordable. To pay a mortgage payment for health insurance that then includes co-pays, premiums, co-pays, and deductibles, and you may have student loans, and you may have to eat, and you may have to drive, and you may have a house. You simply cannot pay for all of those things to have some level of health care. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's unsustainable. And I think once we educated the students about that, we found actually that most students at the medical school we're actually very invested in seeing a Medicare for all type program in this country. So that was great.
Yeah.
And when Trump first started to dismantle the ACA in 2016, we held a rally and we had students come in from all of the classes. And normally you never see the upperclassmen come back down to the medical school where we take our preclinical classes. But we had a ton of people come out for a protest, and I just was overwhelmed with the support of we had 100 students at maybe more, all protesting to keep healthcare for people, because it had helped cover 20 million Americans who were previously uninsured, and we don't want to lose that for our patients. But these students all came out en masse, and I said, okay, maybe it's not that they're not interested, it's just that, you know, there are conflicting interests going on when you're a medical student, but
Right.
it is something that's important to us in our patient care. We want our patients to have insurance so that we can take care of them and not have to worry about if it's going to be covered or not.
Right. So, as far as organizing is concerned, how many members do you currently have right now?
I would say we probably have 50 to 60 members at the moment.
And how many people are in the medical school as students right now?
Around 400.
Okay.
It's a small medical school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sarah and I just met at the Physicians for National Health Program New Hampshire chapter. There's a Vermont chapter as well. I found out, I didn't realize it, I just went because I thought, darn it, I'm going to this meeting because I care about healthcare. Well, I was totally welcome. Community members are welcome to come to both the Vermont and the New Hampshire chapter meetings.
Absolutely.
And we had an amazing presentation by Ken Dolkart. It was a lot of statistics, but really important statistics. Mm-hmm. And education is a huge part. I bet that all the medical students, which are about probably 23 years old, who have mm-hmm. another 3 years to go on their parents' health insurance, were thinking, I have 3 years to go before I have to start shelling out money to mm-hmm. an insurance company to get some form of the ability to see a doctor.
Yeah, it's everyone, you know, we're not excluded from that process.
Right,
yeah.
But it's hitting close to home. And so that, I don't know how you use that piece of information, you know, to say, you know, the ACA right now has done about, you know, I would say a handful. I'm not a total, I want universal health care, but the ACA has made about 10 things universally available to Americans. Mm-hmm. And that's staying on your parents', you know, health insurance, if they have it.
Yeah.
Pre-existing conditions.
Pre-existing conditions is huge. I mean, if you have a pre-existing condition and you're dropped by your health care without the ACA, you
Right.
can't get insured again. And those are the people who need insurance the most. That's what insurance is supposed to cover. We need a big pool of people to cover those who might have major medical conditions. And you can't choose who you're going to be. No one's immune to a major medical condition. No one's immune to cancer.
That's right.
You never know who it's going to be, and that's the reason that we have insurance. And if we had the whole nation in as a pool, we would be able to protect everyone, even the people who had major medical
without
conditions.
Without the insurance
Yeah.
companies. Let's make that abundantly clear.
Absolutely.
Because their costs, their administrative, the overhead, the fact that they have so much power to deal with prescription drugs and everything about your health care, it is not a commodity. Your health is not a commodity.
And that's what the insurance companies make it. It's for
That's
profit.
right.
It's not for patient care.
That's right. And so all of that educating, it's not something that even a medical student would think about. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're thinking about what?
We're thinking about how, I know for me today, the pancreas works. That's what's most important for us. But Yeah, I feel like even the majority of Americans support a single payer system. I think once you educate people on what it means and how much they're paying in already to their insurance, then they think, oh, if I have a tax increase, but all this is going to go away, especially people who are underinsured and have high deductibles and are not on great plans. They're like, I might be paying in more now than I would be in taxes for a Medicare for All program.
Right. I mean, and it would be a tax, and it would probably be a progressive tax.
It would be.
And there's no reason why anybody would want to feel like if I get sick, I have to ask permission, because in many cases, you've got to ask the insurance company for a pre-authorization.
I just learned that in order to get a liver transplant, if you need one and you qualify, you have to have health insurance. You have to get pre-authorization for a life-saving liver transplant if you need it, or any organ transplant. If you don't have insurance, you die.
Yep. And I don't
That's
personally
inhumane.
think that's right.
No.
And I don't think anybody listening to this would think it was right. It's there's something inherent about our ability to see outside of the thing that's been imposed upon us.
Yeah, and to see other people. And you know, a lot of people maybe listening who aren't in support of Medicare for All are thinking, oh, but I might have a pre-existing condition, because a lot of things qualify as a pre-existing condition, right? And if we don't have the ACA anymore, those people, even if they have the money for it, may be rejected by insurance companies because they would be considered too expensive to insure, which is a scary thought. And that's where we were before the ACA.
The human being is a pre-existing condition waiting to happen.
It is.
So that's our segment on organizing and getting the students to become, the medical students to become more active in universal health care programs.
Yeah, we've even had students go out to the legislature and lobby for universal health care. So people are getting really involved.
And we need more of that.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thanks to Sarah for helping us understand
welcome.
what's going on at the medical school. And we'll see you next time.